So this place was a product of the Halifax explosion, actually, because what happened was Pier 2, that used to take immigrants through that really busy time, late 1900s, early 20th century, blew up during the Halifax explosion. So Pier 21 was built, opened in 1928, and from 28 until 71, almost 1 million people immigrated through. But the other piece of the story is that 368,000 troops deployed from here during World War II to participate in Europe, and they brought back their over 45,000 war brides and their children as well. So it had sort of two stories. It was loud, it was bustling, it seemed confusing, but if you were here for any amount of time, you'd realize it was an organized chaos, because there were means to have people queue and sit down in benches and wait to be processed. And so many people arrived seasick or recovering from seasickness that there was also a huge element here of volunteers and nurses and volunteers who helped with language, with taking care of a babe in arms while somebody was working through that process of getting approved and all that sort of thing. When we became Canada's 6th National Museum, our mandate was to tell the story of immigration from first contact to current day. It's a big sweeping scope, as you can imagine, because so many people arrived in waves to these shores even before they were called Canada. So our philosophy was to do the same thing we did at Pier 21. Be thematic, be inclusive, try to present different points of view. So we do have a timeline that starts 400 years ago, so that people who like to do things in an early fashion can. But we also talk about those themes all the way through, from first contact, Fidois, the building of the West, and the fact that Chinese immigrants were coming in the late 19th century to help build the railroad, right up to current day. So we do before and after the Pier 21 period, and we try throughout the exhibit to talk about our founding nations, our First Nations, at the same time and integrate it into the immigration story. The good, the bad, and the awful. So we tell all of those stories at the same time and how everybody affected each other in the waves that came. We've really worked hard with this renovation to go deeper and more immersive on the Pier 21 side so that people can feel that emotion. And I have been there and been privileged to be there with those who have, and it still evokes deep emotion for people. So we're really pleased that that can speak to them as part of their family history, as part of their identity. Some people respond to first-person stories. Some people love our new waves of immigration technology, and they can play with it and touch screens, and other people still want to stuff a suitcase full of things. And we really try to do the balance, because I think it keeps people engaged longer. If it's just screen after screen after screen, it becomes exhausting. But at the same time, we are a museum of stories, and the technology really lends itself to storytelling. So we try to balance the two. And so you can build a new building with wooden blocks in here. You can create your own suitcase. You can stuff your own suitcase full of things. You can sit on the bunk in a recreated ship's cabin. But at the same time, you can touch screen, you can see beautiful archival clips from CBC and Library and Archives, National Film Board, if you wish. The vast majority of people who immigrated to this country wanted a better life for their children, for their family. They wanted safety, they wanted shelter, they wanted a means to make a living, and mostly they wanted their kids to grow up with all of those things that Canada affords. And whether it was, pre-Confederation, or as we know now, this year, those emotions and that internal journey are the same. And so what we try to do in the museum is bring the commonalities together, obviously highlight the different ways people did this through the years and the different ways Canada interacted with immigrants through the years, but really pull in that commonality and how it is a human journey.